All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We may have some other parents joining us in the middle, but my name is Mrs. Hodelman. I am one of the 5th grade teachers.
I'm Mrs. Reno. I am the other 5th grade teacher.
Okay, and we are here tonight to talk to you a little bit about the curriculum that we will do in 5th grade and kind of what this year looks like and the workshop we have and just a whole bunch of good information for you. Was I muted? Okay. You want to share your screen, Mars? There we go. All right, so we have different workshop models. We have Reader's Workshop, Writer's Workshop, Math Workshop, and then Science and Social Studies Workshop. So the structure for Reader's Workshop looks very similar to Writer's, where we start with a mini lesson. That's a focus lesson. It's usually no more than 7 to 10 minutes. And that's where we are very direct with our instruction. That's where we are teaching. That's where the kids are starting to learn new skills that we teach in 5th grade. So like I said, that lasts maximum 10 minutes. And then we move on to the independent portion, where the students will do the majority of the work. So usually it's about 45 minutes that they do their independent work. And during that time, they're practicing the skill that we just learned. And I usually on a normal year would walk around and confer with our in-person kids, our face-to-face kids, and we would have small group meetings where we would talk about what they're reading, ask them questions. If they're struggling with that certain skill, I would reteach it to them in a different way. And then we end our workshop with the closure. We all come back together the last 5 or so minutes of workshop, and we reflect on what we just learned, and we share with the class how we use that skill, how we practiced, and what we learned. So our units for Reader's Workshop is our introductory unit, which is learning to find a love for reading, because no one's going to learn anything in Reader's Workshop if we don't find our love for reading, and that's what our goal is for Unit 1. Unit 2, we focus mostly on literature, which is our fiction books, and then Unit 3, we focus more on our nonfiction, the expository, the informational texts. Unit 4, we look at, instead of looking at the genre, we look at the structure. How is it written and how does it affect the way that we are reading the story? Unit 5 goes along. Unit 5 reading and Unit 5 writing go hand in hand. And they are both using research. We learn how to research. We learn what safe sites are and how to tell if a site is a made-up one, like on Wikipedia, or if it's a trusted source. And then our Unit 6 and our final unit is my favorite. It's our poetry unit. And we study all types of poetry. And we make this big book at the end full of different types of poems. So Writer's Workshop, the structure is the exact same as Reader's Workshop. We start with the mini lesson, then they go to the independent work, and then we finish with the share time. We share out the skill that we just practiced. Our units for writing. Unit 1, we are finding, again, just like reading, we're finding our love for writing, and we're practicing getting back in the habit of writing. We're practicing getting back into building our stamina for writing. Unit 1, they have choice. They get to pick whatever genre they would like to write about. And then Unit 2, we write memoirs. Unit 3 are feature articles, which is the informational piece. Unit 4 is interesting. It's unique. It's a third-person narrative. And so we're writing a story like from an outside perspective. So that's actually one of my favorite ones that we do. Unit 5 is our persuasive, which is our opinion. It's the research-based writing. And our last Unit 6 goes along with Reader's Workshop, which is the poetry unit. So in reading, we learn about the structure of the poem, and in writing, we write the poem. You're muted, Marcy.
Sorry. So for Math Workshop, it kind of follows the same principles. However, we do a focus, we send them out to practice, we bring them back to look at it, share out some things, and then we give them an independent practice time, and then we have a closure or our share out as to overall what they've learned. So looking at our math workshops, we're going to be looking at area and volume, the whole number place value, and our order of operations. We're going to be adding, subtracting fractions. They'll be doing decimals and coordinate grids. They'll be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. We'll be looking at our measurement units, and we'll be throwing in some fractions and decimal work with that. And multiplying and dividing decimals is going to be coming up. They'll have geometry, graphing, and we'll end back again at that same kind of thing of measurements with the computation and graphing. So it's just going to keep spiraling through, thankfully, with that. I know that there are some struggling right now due to at the end of last year, they missed some of these concepts. And so we're going through and hitting them really quickly, and then we're going to dive deeper into them as the year progresses.
One thing with math workshop that we have to remember is that our math facts, our multiplication and division facts are imperative to have memorized because we use them so much. They're the base of every unit. They're the base of everything that we do. We've made little flashcards that some of your kiddos may be coming home with to help, to practice our math facts. So it's really important that you help us in practicing the math facts at night.
Moving on, our social studies and science units. So we will alternate between social studies and science. So right now we are beginning our science unit, and we are doing our introduction to it, and then we'll start with our energy and food, and then we'll jump over to social studies and do our perspectives and looking at how people view the world and how what they're seeing and how they see it could be different from their peers. Then we'll jump back to science and look at our plants and animals and ecosystems. We'll jump back over to do geography. And then we have our earth interactions. And then we go over to our systems. And then we'll end with science with our light, earth, and matter. The difference is we'll do a little bit more focus with our science units. If we notice that we are running short on time, we'll focus more on the science and then come back to the social studies at the end of the year, because in 5th grade, this will be the first year they will be map tested over science. So we try to hit science a little bit more towards the beginning, middle of the year, and then we'll hit the social studies at the end of the year with activities.
Okay, and as many of you are probably familiar with our BIST system, we've used it for the last few years, but it's all about the goals that for life. It's about skills that we should have to make us successful human beings. So just a brief overview of the BIST system. The kiddos get a verbal redirect, and then they're asked to move to the safe seat. And if it escalates at the safe seat, they go to a buddy room. And if they cannot handle being a buddy room, we'll move to the office. So our goals for life are, I can make good choices even if I am mad. I can be okay even if others are not okay. I can do something even if I don't want to or it's hard. So these are the skills that we are working on throughout all of our schooling on helping reinforce and teach these skills to our kiddos. So one of the biggest parts of BIST is holding the students accountable or having them hold themselves accountable. So getting them to understand, yes, I did it. I'm sorry. It is a problem in my life. I accept the consequences and I accept your help. And help might be in the form of teaching coping mechanisms or teaching them ways to be okay even if others around them are not okay. On the positive side of it, we still do our dojo, our rewards. They earn rewards by being respectful, responsible, and safe. And also we added, because of COVID, we added some new rewards on dojo. So if they're caught if everyone's caught wearing a mask at one time, we can give them all dojos. If the principal happens to walk by and she says that we are doing a really good job with social distancing and practicing safe measures and whatnot, they get dojos for that as well. So like we said, our learning expectations are be respectful, responsible, and safe. But what does that mean? So as a fifth grade dragon, we expect the kids to wake up, eat breakfast, and get ready to be awesome with a positive attitude. Be flexible, especially right now when we're trying to figure out everything with the e-learning and the hybrid learning and the face-to-face, and just being understanding that we are trying and that things will change. They can and will change daily. We have already seen that a little bit with the new information we get about the virus and whatnot. But what does it look like to be respectful? It is responding kindly in our community, whether you are responding virtually because you're one of our virtual friends, or you're responding to a peer in class because you're face to face. It is responding kindly. Whether their answer is different than yours or their opinion's different, it's still accepting that they have the answer. Following adults' instructions, whether that be the parent helping our virtual kiddos or your teacher in class. By listening to others who are helping me at school or at home. So again, that's whoever's working with you virtually at home or your teachers here in school. By keeping organized and using only my school supplies. We cannot use each other's. We can't touch each other's stuff or it has to quarantine. So being responsible is checking each Canvas course daily. So in Canvas, we have language arts, which holds reading and writing. We have math, we have science, and we have a social studies. The daily schedule, so what our day looks like each day, is in the homeroom course in Canvas. Completing assignments by their due date, asking questions. I am here, myself and Mrs. Reno, we're here to help in any way possible, whether you're face-to-face or virtual. This is a big one, making sure the iPads are charged nightly. Because we are pushing Canvas so hard and trying to learn this new program, we are using our iPads, I'd say probably 80% of the day. And so it's really, really, really important that we have our iPads at school and that they are charged. We can no longer give kiddos computers that forgot their iPads because they can't touch them. We can't share computers anymore. We are being responsible by staying focused on the activity at hand and doing our best work, and by bringing a clean mask and water bottle to school daily. So sometimes, it is allergy season. Everybody sneezes. Understand, sometimes you accidentally sneeze in your mask. So the next day, I want you to bring a clean one back to school to help not spread those germs. And our last one is being safe. Being safe we are being safe by visiting websites only assigned to by the teacher. Our kiddos know that they have access to Clever, which has a list of all of our links on there that are safe and appropriate. Storing your iPad in a safe place, so not, where the puppy can step on it or the younger sibling can grab it and crack the screen, things like that. Using good digital citizenship while online, so that is respecting the comments of others and not essentially being a cyber bully. By having clean hands while using technology, we sanitize all the time, all day long. So making sure before you touch your iPad, you sanitize your hands. After you use your iPad, you sanitize your hands. Which brings me to, we are safe by sanitizing anytime you enter or leave a room. Keeping your mask over your nose and mouth at all times, not just on your mouth, it has to cover both. And then keeping your distance for your safety and the safety of others. So if we have our mask on, it's okay to be 3 feet apart. But if we do not have a mask on, you have to be 6 feet apart to be safely distanced.
So we were going over some of those iPad expectations, and some of these are going to they're going to be the same as what we were just going over with the expectations for their learning. Some of the things that we have asked is do not add passwords or Apple IDs. That's something that's been asked by the district, because if a student forgets forgets their password, or they don't have the Apple ID and central office has to work on it, then they have to reset the whole iPad with it. So just making sure we're not adding anything like that. Please do not add any additional apps unless you're told by a teacher to do so. We ask this because they have a very limited space on their iPad hard drive. So by the time we start downloading the apps we need them to have, and then any documents or anything else that gets saved onto their iPad, it starts taking up room, and then the iPad won't run correctly. We have taken off their ability to save documents to the iPad. We're having it pushed to save in their box drive, which has more storage room and won't take up storage on the iPad memory. On the back of their new iPads, you'll notice there's a sticker, and it has a covering over it, like a clear sticker or a greenish clear sticker. Please don't remove those, or even try to remove the case. These are the new OtterBox cases, which are really hard and very durable for the students in order to keep them safe and protected with the iPads. So we ask that you try not to remove those. Like Mrs. Hottleman said, please make sure that your hands are clean when using the iPads. We want to make sure that nothing sticky gets on them. Plus, we want to make sure that we try to keep them as germ-free as possible. Also remember, the iPad is an educational tool and should be treated as so. I know when they're at home and that sometimes they go to other things, but please remember that we do use this for educational purposes, and that's the point of us sending them home with them. That should take priority. Also remember, the iPad should only be used by the Shoto student that it's been assigned to, or if parents are logged on for Teams meetings with the teachers, things like that. We just want to make sure that others aren't getting on their iPads and downloading things, or getting into different things, and then it getting blamed on the child, and they weren't even doing it. She had also mentioned making sure that iPads are coming back to school with 100% charge every day. We are using them quite a bit in all of our classes, including the Encore. They're starting to learn how to use them in there. So just making sure it's charged so that way they can make it through the day. Later this week, we are going to do a digital citizenship module that will go in Canvas through their homeroom. So be on the lookout for that. We'll make sure we post an announcement to let you know when that goes out there. We've also talked about checking Canvas daily for the assignments. Last year, we did assignments through Seesaw. This year, we're going through and using Canvas. It's a little bit easier to structure for the older grades. Not to mention the fact that this is going to get them ready for next year when they move to 6th and forward 6 through 12 use Canvas for a lot of their assignments and turning in. So them getting the know-how now will help them greatly in the years to come. If your student is absent for any reason or has to stay home even if they have to stay home for an extended period of time, make sure that they are checking Canvas to do the daily work. We're looking at the fact that we may not have snow days anymore because we are all virtual, in essence, can be all virtual. So we can run a normal day, even if we have to have a snow day.
So, sorry, Ms. Reno, real quick.
Yeah.
So that includes if you have a kiddo has a doctor's appointment that day and they miss school, they're still responsible for that work, and they can easily log on to Canvas, and all of their focus lessons, their assignments, everything is on Canvas. So if they're absent because they're sick, or they're absent because they have a doctor's appointment or dentist appointment, they still need to check Canvas and get that work done.
Okay, going on to Teams. Teams was introduced at the end of last year, and because it got introduced so quickly, Teams was not ready for, the school curriculum and school way of being used. It was more supposed to be in a business setting. So there were a lot of open things that the students were able to do. This year, they have locked it down a little bit more. However, if they still have chats and things from last year, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about, they still have access to those. They can't create new ones, but they can do the old ones. So reminding your students, Teams should only be used by the virtual students in order to join the class meetings or in order to message us teachers, whether it be Mrs. Hodelman or myself, or even if they need a message the music, PE, art, or any of their other teachers like that. Try to keep them from continuing conversations from last year. I have gone through and tried to have students leave conversations because we're having problems with kids trying to use those old chats and hold conversations during the school day. And so also one other thing is trying to make sure your students are trying not to use that voice messaging. A lot of them want to record a message to us. It's really hard for us to listen to a message in the middle of the day. If we have a down moment and we see a Teams message pop up and it's something that we can read and respond back quickly, we try to. If it's something that we're going to have to listen to, we have to wait and do it at a different time when we have no students in the room or whenever we have a break. And we have our breaks first thing in the morning, and then we don't have another break until we have recess at the end of the day. So just making sure that they're messaging us with words instead of voice messages, so that way we can respond back in a timely manner to them.
And adding on to what Mrs. Reno said, the only time that the chat feature should be used is when the virtual kiddos are contacting us, or face-to-face even, when they're contacting their teachers. Other than that, we should not use the chat feature on Microsoft Teams.
Okay, so we've been going over a lot with the e-learning and the apps that you're going to be using. Some of the big ones that students will be using is Canvas. When they log into it, everybody should be logged into it by now. If for some reason your student is not logged into Canvas and your Canvas app looks like this, if for some reason they are not, when they first log in, they type in North Kansas City School District, and then making sure that it doesn't say summer school, that it's the normal North Kansas City School District. And then it's their email address, which is their lunch number at nkcschools.org. And then their password is their birth date, which is the month, day, and then the 4 numbers for their year. As you'll notice, a lot of our logins are that email address and their birthday password. So in Canvas is where you will find their daily assignments. You'll have their homeroom course. They'll have their ELA, which will be their reading and writing. They'll have the math, and they'll have science. As of right now, we have not posted social studies since they are not working in that yet. When it's time for social studies, we'll publish that one. Another one that some students, depending on when they picked up their iPads, is Clever. Clever is a great site where it's starting to save some of our passwords in it. And so when they log into Clever, they can click on the different icons to get to it. However, in Clever, not everything's set up, but we do have pages where we have specific links that they will consistently go to.
Stop.
And they can get to it from Clever. Seesaw. We, as 5th grade, for us as the teachers, we will still do some assignments in Seesaw, and it will be a link from Canvas to that. However, some of the other like arts and music, PE, some of them may use it more, but we will run mostly through Canvas. But Seesaw will be used as a way to have their digital bulletin board. When we go to publish their writings or projects, we'll use the Seesaw app for that. Flipgrid, we will be using that still as a chance for them to get to record themselves with a prompt that we'll give, and they get a chance to hear each other and see each other, since a lot of the times right now we aren't being able to see each other without the masks on. So it'll give the kiddos a chance to see each other without masks and see their faces, kind of thing. And I think that is it. Are there any questions?
And these questions can be anything about the technology or anything that we talked about tonight.
No, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye. Next time. Hi.
I did have a question about the seesaw. When I opened up the seesaw today, it looked like there were some existing classes in there that says for 5. So I don't know if there's other classes that are pending going to come up through seesaw, or if I should just ignore that.
With Seesaw, they will have a link to art, music, and PE also. Then that's why I said some of those teachers may push out assignments, but they will let them know. They also are working through Canvas, and then will link their Canvas assignments to go to that specific assignment in Seesaw.
Great. I just didn't want to think I was missing out on a whole platform here, because we've been focusing. What we've been doing is just going to our to-do list, and then if it's blocked or because we haven't completed a module, we'll go back to the module and do the module, and then we'll complete our task. And the to-do list really is a lifesaver because it narrows down what you have and when it's due. So I love that part of it.
Yes, we do like that feature on it too.
Yes,
I
thank you for making sure she gets it done.
And the parents can see it very easily. We can see the check marks. We can see if they've read it. Well, you haven't read it yet, so how can you do the assignment? So it's a good tracking for us here at home.
Well, we appreciate your support.
Hey, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
We're all struggling, but we're gonna make it, and it's just the beginning. So let's stay positive. And you guys are doing a good job, and we're gonna keep on doing a good job too. And let's hope we make it. No more tears. That should be the slogan for this year. There's no more tears.
That's fair. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much. It was great getting to hear you guys all tonight. And we're going to go to the Title I meeting now.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Night.
I have a question real quick. Is there a parent portal for any of this other than Class Dojo?
Yes, there is actually. If you go, if you have an Apple phone or even a Google phone, if you go into like their app launcher, their app store, and look up Canvas Parent, there is a parent app. I was gonna say, Melissa, you'll probably, or Miss Ottoman, you'll be able to speak a little bit more to it because you have a kiddo in it. I don't.
Yeah. So it's like the kids one is red and white. The parent one is green and white. And essentially you can see the same thing the kids can. You just don't submit assignments from your account. The kids will submit from their account, but you can still see everything that they have to do.
Okay, and then I download that and put in like, no, I got it now. There's like a Find School thing. Figure it out.
Yeah.
I put
Cool.
in my
Thank
personal email address and then my personal password.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
So if we joined in for the 5:30, we can just stay on.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Thank you.
Sorry, we're running a little bit late.
No,